Good day, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. You are in tune to another episode of Boss Talks. I'm your host, Deanna. Yes, if you know me by my business channel, my business videos, information and blogs and things like that to help entrepreneurs build and grow and make that money. So now this is the episode of Boss Talks where I talk to different bosses in their field, in their niche, in their industry to give us their jewels and their 2 cents and their do's and their don'ts and their greats and their triumphs and their failures and all those things like that there. Today, my special guest is Mr. Scene all the way from Kinston, North Carolina. Everybody give it up for Scene.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm trying to be unbiased because I know you and I'm just so proud of you. But I want you to go ahead and give the people a little bit about yourself and things like that there. While you're talking, I'm going to go ahead and bring up your website because I think it's just so aesthetically pleasing as well. So, but go ahead and give the people a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name, I am Racine McGee, multipreneur, I guess you can put it like that. I run a podcast. I used to manage a YouTube, but I kind of put that down. But I teach day trading and investing. I have a merchandise site as well. This is one of my designs. It's Entreprenegus, a play on words for entrepreneur, and negus meaning king or royalty. I teach an online plant-based course on how to transition to the plant-based lifestyle. I have 3 books out. 2 are So Frail, a Reality to Black Masculinity, So Frail 2, Toxic Femininity, and Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. Hitting It Raw, of course, goes with the course. And I do just sessions with people as far as personal development, spiritual development, and just any kind of venting sessions on a segment I call Chatting with Scene. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've been at the entrepreneur game since 2015. I used to be on path to become a medical doctor, but life just changed that. So I kind of went down my own independent route. That's how the Hitting the Raw program came about, because it's about nutrition and health. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a forensic biology major, so I still have my science background. I still stay up on a lot of things that I do, and kind of just into the whole entrepreneur life. I love the grind. I love working and staying on top of, just doing for self by self, and cutting the middleman out. That's my number one focus and purpose of it all. But, use the middleman while you can.
Okay, absolutely. Wow. Yes, I like that so much. I love it. I just love hearing all the great things that you have accomplished in such a short amount of time. Now, I want to talk to you about your decision to go plant-based. What really made you want to go plant-based? I have since then went from being a meat eater to a practicing vegan to a practicing vegetarian. And for the most part, I'm like vegetarian and things like that. I love cheese too much, and it's a tie that I'm breaking. So that's my issue. But what made you decide to take on a plant-based diet?
When I was in med school, I was in the West Indies, and just living on the island, like so much of the fruit and the food and everything was just so organic. And I met this dude named Abasi, and like he was a real stocky dude. Like it was like, he was real buff. He worked out, and it's like he had a lot of energy. And I was like, I was asking him like, what do you do? He's like, I don't eat animals. I was like, what do you mean you don't eat animals? So he kind of got me into it. He kind of got me into the spark and everything. But like once he broke down, the part about the scientific part of it made it make sense. And then the fact that I was in med school at the time learning about how the body is working. And as we're cutting up bodies, like we're seeing people that have like compacted colons and all of that stuff. And I was like, wow, that's, and then he made a sly comment while we were in the lab one time, and that kind of just changed my mind. He was like, you see, that's what eating animals will do. And it kind of just made me, it opened my eyes to it. And so I just started to study it a lot more as far as the nutrition aspect, just everything that went into it. And then after a while, it was just a no brainer. It was like, I got to do this. And it just, it made sense. And it changed my whole perspective of life. You start to feel different, look different, think different, act different. Everything changes about you because you're, I don't want to get all, metaphysical with it, but like your frequency really changes, and you have a lot more vibrancy because you're putting life in your body.
Life. Okay. And you brought up something I wanted to ask you too. So, about you cutting up the cadavers and things like that, what was the grossest thing that you saw out of those bodies coming from a meat eater?
Ooh, I would have to say the grossest thing would be the intestines. Like, I'd say about 80% of the bodies that we looked at when we went to the intestines, they were all compacted the same way. It's like, it's right at the base of it. It's just nasty. It's just a whole bunch of decay and stuff that's just sitting there, and it's almost hard to see and think that you can see that in a living body, but it just sits there. It doesn't go anywhere, especially like if you're not, regular and you're not eating the right things, it's not going to flush out, and it just compounds and sticks there. And then it circulates into your body. And that's what it's like, it circulates toxins through your body continually. And that's where all of the problems come up for people.
Ooh, what? Okay. So what meat takes the longest to digest in the body?
I would say red meat. I mean, that's consensus, across the board, but red meat is usually the hardest to digest. Then red meat is the hardest, then it'll be beef, then it'll be pork, and then it'll be chicken and poultry and stuff like that. And then fish is last.
Fish is last. So you said red meat and then beef. A lot of people think that beef is red meat. What goes in the red meat category?
Okay, so the red meat will be like, so you have beef that isn't red meat, and then you have the red meat, because it's the segment of the animal that it's coming from. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So like the ground beefs and the ground beefs and, well, mainly it's just the ground beefs. That will be just the basic beef. But like red meat would be your thicker things like steaks and the stuff that, it's a lot more fibrous because it's coming from a more muscular area. Okay. That's the red meat because it's harder to break down and digest because it's mainly muscle. Right. Well, all animal is muscle, but that's the most thickest part of it.
Woo, child. Woo. Just taught me something new. Taught me. Now, I remember when you written So Frail. We're going to go to your books for a minute. When you had written So Frail, what was the inspiration or what made you want to write this book?
All right. So, funniest story ever. The reason why I wrote this book is because I got tired of repeating myself. Like, I have a lot of homegirls that, they ask me the same questions like, why are men like this? Why do men do this? And it's like, you repeat that over, so many times, and then it just kind of gets annoying. But when different people are asking the same thing, they never heard the previous response. So I don't necessarily have the same, vigor with it when I'm speaking to, as I go on. So I was like, all right, let me put it on paper one time, get everything out of, what masculinity is and all of those things. And it just came out a lot more different than I expected. It was, I don't know, from everybody that I know that has read it so far, it's a very transformative piece of work because, my observations just of Black men as a whole and the things that we have been conditioned into and everything, I put all of that in there. So it's more of it was, the impetus was just, we need that. I don't want to repeat myself, and we need to change as a whole. It's just time for us to be better as Black men. Like, that's just how I feel.
All right. Well, without giving away the book, because I do want people that are interested to get the book, what do you think the top 3 issues with the Black man is?
The top 3 issues with the Black man are, 1, our masculinity is not defined properly. We don't define it. So we don't define it, we just describe it. And so when you're describing something, you're just putting details to it. It's not until you define something that you can truly understand it. But because we describe it, we just try to fit a mold that we think is masculine. So that's the first point. The second point is that we confuse being masculine with being manly. So those two dynamics don't necessarily go hand in hand, but masculinity by default will make you manly, but being manly necessarily isn't an extension of masculinity. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like almost like a square and a rectangle. Like all squares are rectangles, but all rectangles aren't squares. You know what I'm saying? Because they have the four sides. And the third takeaway, I would say, that it is the title is not it's not a bashing book. All right. The title is just because controversy sells, and for me, I looked at it like this, on the quest to try to push men to be better. You have to realize who can and who can't and who will and who won't. And so for me, it's like, if you can't get past the title of a book, you'll never be able to face yourself and make the changes that you need to.
Spit that hot fire. Bars. Okay. And now your second book. Did you write this book yet?
Yeah. Second book is out.
Second book is out. It is Toxic Femininity. What prompted? I guess this is the balance out from the male and the female. So.
Yeah, see, another one, the title will throw you off because it's not, I'm not talking about women in that, but I'm talking about femininity as the essence, of what it really is. Because as beings, and especially as men, we have both dynamics, masculine and feminine. And so from So Frail, I kind of broke down what masculinity was. And in So Frail 2, I'm explaining what it is that we have adopted that we think is masculinity. And that's where toxic femininity came up. Because femininity, as I describe it in the book, is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction. So it's about building things up, right? That's what femininity is. But when it's toxic, it leads to destruction. So when you look at what we call manly, a lot of it is destructive behavior. The only emotions we're allowed to, use are aggression, rage, anger, all things that destroy. And so I had to show that what we think is masculinity is really a form of toxic femininity. And it's us as men that have adopted that, because just the natural polarity, it has to be in odds to the feminine essence, which puts us at odds with women off the default. So that was pretty much the segue into that one, and to show, how we get caught up in toxic femininity and how and what it really is at the core of it.
Wow. Okay. And you got some reviews down here. I'm gonna check those out. But now your back book a session. Now you said your sessions were based off of those books.
They're kind of based off of everything. So it's like, it's my books. It's quote unquote like therapy sessions with people, because I have, over the years, people have just been able to be comfortable talking to me and getting things out, and I help people change that. So change certain dynamics of things within their lives and help strengthen them. And so I kind of just turned it into actual session thing. So sometimes with the plethora of things that I have learned and I have grown to internalize, people will always want to pick my brain and just ask me random questions. So I have sections for that. Some people just want to get clarity on certain things. So I have different tiers for what people want to do. So when I say, over the booking a session, just, we have a conversation that kind of just goes wherever anybody wants to go on anything, any topic, anything that, they really want to get involved in.
That's good. That's good that you have decided to provide that outlet, because listening to so many people can really take a toll on you. So I'll be keeping your resilience in my heart and mind. Now, you did talk about spirituality, your spirituality, in the beginning of your speaking. Now, how has that changed? Because I know your mother and her in the church, okay? So,
Yeah.
and I know she brought you up that way. So what kind of shifts or realizations or epiphanies have you had within your own spiritual journey?
Within my spiritual journey, I kind of learned the real understanding of spirituality, and it kind of led me to a different point of it led me to a point of more accountability and responsibility for myself. Um, it I don't like I walked away from the religious aspect of what I was, currently I was previously involved in, but as far as the spiritual connection and everything like that, for me, it led me to have more peace within myself, more balance, and the biggest focus of it was that it led me to be more accountable and more responsible for the things that I decide to do, the things that are within me. So I don't necessarily I don't put anything that I do, I don't put it on anybody else. I take 100% ownership, and spirituality, my spiritual practices have taught me that, and that made it a lot more easier for me just to be comfortable doing that.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, alchemy. Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I believe in it, but I don't believe in it in the sense of how people have mysticized it. Like,
Oh, hold on, I don't mean to cut you off. Before you explain that part, for people who don't know, what is alchemy?
alchemy at the core is basically turning nothing into something. It's you have raw materials of things in life, and you're putting them together, you're transmuting them to make them something different, something greater, something better. So alchemy is the power that you have as a human being, as a person, to turn any situation from a negative to a positive, to basically turn anything from nothing into something, and then from something into something greater.
So it's not witchcraft or anything like that.
Nah. It's not witchcraft at all. But if you feel like that is witchcraft and you stay away from it, I mean, I can respect that and I can understand. But alchemy has nothing to do with darkness or no. It's alchemy is your creative ability, your true creative essence at its highest peak. So everybody has creativity in them. Everybody has the ability to create and do whatever they want to do within this world. Alchemy is just the practice of doing so.
Okay, that reminds me of the book that I read. It's called The Science of Getting Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that book?
I haven't.
I'll have to send you a picture of it. The first couple of chapters is a little rough because the guy that wrote it was like the 1800s. So the language was kind of rough for me. But other than that, I feel like it's a pretty decent book, and it kind of speaks about what you just explained. You was about to say he was about to demystify some of it.
Yeah. So like I kind of did it with that explanation. So like alchemy is not it's nothing scary. There's like people mysticize it to where they feel like I have to have like hocus pocus, all this different, altars and candles and all this other crazy ritual stuff. Nah, if you're not at peace within, it doesn't matter what you set up on the outside of it. It's not going to work. You have to, it starts within. So everything within is what you bring out. And that's how you know to set up certain things as far as, okay, I need to light this candle or I need to do this particular thing. Those things are just I look at them as more of, like talismans to make your mind attuned to it, but everything's supposed to start within. You should be able to do it, like get your practices in through meditations and continually affirm things through your words and through your actual power and action. You have to do work. You have to have action. You can't just think.
Yeah, right.
You can't just think alchemy is, hey, I want this to happen and it will. No, you have to bring it into reality.
Okay, like faith without works, right? Now,
Yep.
I gotta ask, because you are around my age, so how old are you?
I am 30. I just turned 30 this year.
Happy birthday. My birthday's on Saturday. But
Okay.
So now, are you dating or are you single or what's your relationship status? Just in case there's any ladies out there that's not a good man.
My current relationship status is single. And I'm not gonna say I'm looking, but I'm not gonna say I'm not, because I don't want it. Like I'm more on organic connections with people
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to actually trying. Because I've learned in my course of the world that trying to have a relationship doesn't work. Like, you have to kind of see how you two gravitate with each other, build a friendship, and then say, okay, let's see if we can go to the next level with that. But I think so many people skip that friendship part and just try to go with somebody and then skip that whole phase, and it never works because it's like you don't really know that person. You know of them, and you guys get friendly enough to say y'all go together, but you never really become friends. And so that's I don't actively look for it, but I'm not opposed to it. But I build a friendship first, and whatever transpires after that, it'll be.
Absolutely. And that friend part, so many people miss the mark on that. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
Not even funny. But I did reach my 20-minute mark, and if you have been watching my episodes, that means that I cut it off at 20 minutes so that you will do your due diligence to contact the special guest that I have on today. So if you want to contact this young man right here, I put his Instagram down at the bottom, and I will have more information in the description bar on how you can reach him on all his different platforms. When this video is posted, this video is posted every Friday. So, like I said, if you've been listening to this on the podcast, make sure that you subscribe and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified of the next episode on all my channels and things like that there. Everybody give a round of applause for Sean being on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next episode.